As we have been going the last couple of weeks, we're in this being challenge, and it's really all about these habits, and it really goes back to something that's just core to our mission. We're called to make disciples, right? Our goal is not to fill pews. Our goal is that people would follow Him, that would every day in all that they do. And so here's the thing, it's pretty obvious. If we're following Him, we're going to see what He's doing. We're going to see where does He go and where is He leading us. And we're going to see some patterns develop in Scripture. And that's what this whole 40-day challenge is about. It's looking at what are those habits and looking at ourselves. And this is the hard part, our relationship with God. Because we might say, well, yeah, it's solid. But if you look at the habits, you're like, how much do I look like Him? How much does my life look like and reflect His love? Is it telling that story or is it telling some other story? And so last week we looked at committing to community. Today we're going to look at studying Scripture. Now I want you to see something in each of these titles. We're not just going to have a study of Scripture. Or we're not going to have last week we didn't have like a study, like a seminar on community. Because we can do that. We can do that and never actually do that. You see what I'm saying? We can talk about it. Yeah, the Word and what the Word is, but God is saying, look, I want you to be looking at it and looking at it in a certain way. And today we're going to look at what is that, how should we look at Scripture? And I think one of the things that we don't want to do is use it to sort of hurt other people, right? To sort of look at it as an academic exercise. This is not a scientific textbook. Now you'll find who made everything in here. You'll be getting clear instruction as to who you are and your place in all the things, and you will get clearly the truth that Jesus died for you, the truth about your sin, the truth about yourself. You get all that in here. But it's not going to be something that it's not meant to use to try to trap folks. And I think sometimes when we get into that, when we see the Word as a way to win my argument, what I'm doing is I'm just doing what like the Pharisees did in the New Testament. Do you remember that? Time and time again, they would even use Scripture to kind of trap Jesus. But I think God has a different view for us. I think He wants us to really take it in. And this whole week, as I was prepping for this, it reminded me of a podcast that I tried to start with a bunch of pastors a couple years ago. This is probably like 15 years ago, when podcasts were hard to find, and they weren't like so, everywhere. And so somebody at my friend's church gave him like a bunch of money to buy microphones, and we had headphones. We had the whole 9 yards. It was awesome. And so we what do you name it? And so we came with a very clever name, we thought anyway, and we thought we would title it Eat This Book. If that's not clickbait worthy, I don't know what is. Even if you don't know what it is or care, you're going to be like, what are they talking about? Eating books? That's just bizarre. But we took the name of it from a book by Eugene Peterson, who's a great guy. He's the guy who did the Message translation of the Bible. Just a great man, and he has a book called Eat This Book. And it's about how do you do Scripture. And some of the things in there, he talks about, and he quotes C.S. Lewis, and I'm going to kind of paraphrase. He says, look, there's kind of like two purposes. One is to look at it for your own purpose, so where it sort of ends with you. But there's another one that really wants to get the author's purpose. Okay, so if it's all just about me, that's going to be a bad reading. But if I'm looking at what was God saying to me? What is the Lord of the universe trying to communicate to me? What if we opened up the Bible every day and said that? All right, Lord, what you got? What's your message? I think we would kind of develop some better habits. So that's kind of the idea, that we would take this in. And so what kind of habits did Jesus have? How did Jesus use Scripture? How did He treat Scripture? Let's go to Matthew 4, verse 4. If you got a Bible, you can open up to that or scroll up to it, however you're going to navigate that today. This is Jesus in the desert. He's being tempted. He hasn't eaten in a long time, and the devil says, hey, why don't you just take those stones and make them into bread? Not anything evil, but just, hey, something to suit him. And what does Jesus say? It says it on the screen here. He says, it is written. In other words, from the Word of God, you can clearly see that we're not meant to live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God. How differently we would look at the Scripture if we really believe this. Jesus is saying these words are the very words of your Lord. Like he used human beings, right, to convey it. But it's his message. He wants us to know how much he loves us. He wants us to know that he's done something about this thing called sin, and he's rescued us. And so I think it's time for us to stop like saying, hey man, you got to get, we need to push sometimes. I get it. But think about it. When was the last time that you were forced to read a card that your mom sent you, or your dad sent you, or your sister or brother or your kids sent you? That birthday card, you know what I'm talking about. And it's so rare that you get a card that's actually been handwritten by someone. I mean, do you open that? Do you honestly go, oh man, I got to read this thing? Like, really? No, you can't wait to open it because you want to see what that person is saying to you. What's their message? Because what it does is it reminds you of who you are, that you're part of that family, that you are loved. And you read that with just an amazing joy. And just you're like, man, I love this. And you wouldn't complain if you got one of those every day, would you? No. We need it, right? It goes back to that community thing. But it speaks to our relationship with God. Am I hungry? Am I eager to hear what he is saying each and every day? Now, again, Jesus in Luke 24, he explains to us really kind of what this book is all about. What we should hope to find in it, right? Look at Luke 24, verse 44. This is after Jesus rose. He's actually been, hanging out with them. He actually takes and eats a piece of fish that they had there. And he says to them, he says, these are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses and the prophets and the Psalms must be fulfilled. I don't know if you can wrap your mind around and unpack what he's saying there. Because when you look at the beginning of John's gospel, he says, the beginning was the Word, and the Word of God was made flesh. On every Christmas card, right, the religious ones say, the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. It's saying, like, Jesus, what is God? He is the Word, and he came down to be one of us and to die for us. Now, this Word of God is saying that, hey, back in the Old Testament, like when you look at Moses and the things that he taught, things that he wrote down, when you go to the prophets, when you go to the Psalms, that was all about me. Every promise is fulfilled in me. Everything that God was doing, every plan, it was about me. And could you imagine, it's the Word talking about the Word, and how he's in the Word and he is the Word. And, okay, is my head's ready to explode as I'll spend the rest of the afternoon trying to wrap my mind around how that works. And it says, then he opened their minds to understand the Scriptures. And he said to them, thus it is written that the Christ should suffer. Here's the plan, right? On the third day he's going to rise from the dead. That is what he did. Mission accomplished. Sin is done. It's been defeated. We have eternal life. It's awesome. And he says the goal and our mission here is that repentance for the forgiveness of sins would be proclaimed in his name to all nations, starting in Jerusalem. And he says, you are witnesses of these things. I think it's so important that we're in the Word every day for no other reason than that I remember who I am. Aren't there like a million other voices trying to tell me who I am? Trying to tell you which side you should be on, right? How you should think, what philosophy you should have, and all of it. Even in our own hearts. We're so tempted to have our identity attached to what we do. Right? I'm a musician, I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm a doctor, I'm a, whatever I am. When all is said and done, that's not really, that's what we do. But we're children of God, like we're loved by him. And in this passage in Luke, he's saying you're a witness. You're a witness to the fact that the plan has been done. The plan was successful. The plan was a go, and he went to that cross. I mean, that's what we're waiting for. In a couple weeks, we're gonna go to that upper room. We're gonna go to that cross on Good Friday, and we're gonna see on Sunday that the grave was empty. He says, you're witnesses of that. All of us, no matter where we are. Please don't read this passage and go, oh, that's for the apostles. It's not for me. You know it's true. You know it's what happened. So he's saying is simply just tell that story. Let that be who you are and what you're about. We're witnesses. It's who we are. And this word is so important. And by the way, it's why, if you remember back in the Red Letter Challenge, which is what this is kind of born out of, was all about the words of Jesus. Now we're talking about sort of the habits of him, but then it was like the words of Christ. And have you ever, like, it just didn't dawn on me this week that like somebody said, hey, it's so important that we know what words actually Jesus said that we're going to put them in red. And we'll have red letter editions. Just to, and so Zach said, what are those red letters? What did Jesus say? What did he teach us? What is this? What's the practical sort of use for the scriptures? And then we look at that 2 Timothy passage. That kind of dials it in, doesn't it? This is Paul, who's a seasoned, he's a guy who's a bit older, and he's got words for Timothy, who is, just needs that guidance because he's just kind of starting out. So you look at 2 Timothy. It really underscores the importance of this. He says, as for you, and I'm reading it at 2 Timothy 3:14. As for you, Timothy, continue in what you have learned and have firmly believed. Right? He had parents, he had grandparents, he had people that were deep in the faith that taught him, and he's saying, keep going in that. Keep that habit alive. Right? There's a lot of people that are going to tell you different. They're going to try to get you to believe something else. In fact, just this week, it was really weird. I think it was like 2 nights ago. Shatner was on, right? William Shatner's on. Boom. I'm right there. Just that voice, he's got that, he's those dramatic pauses. He's all about the dramatic pause. But it was like a new series that he's got on one of the education channels, history or whatever, and it was about the Bible. And I was like, oh, here we go. And Shatner's not going to let me down, is he? He did, right? How can you believe the Bible? And he's talking about, and I'm like, this is why this is so important. Because he parades all these like so-called, people with PhDs and they're saying like, oh, all these other people are saying, the authors wanted you to hear a certain thing, and so that's why they threw other things out. And it's like, really? Just read the book. Just look at what the solid teaching of Scripture is. And if we don't know what it actually says and what it really is saying, we're going to hear other voices. Jesus said, I'm the good shepherd, and my sheep, they hear my voice. This is how you know what that voice sounds like. And whether there's someone else who's going to lead you down another path, and by the way, that other path is almost always all about you. It's kind of an easy way to know. Someone who tries to set you up for success or set you up, you should pump the brakes on that. Look again at the word. My sheep hear my voice. They follow me. So we should be eager. Like, where's he calling me? That's what Paul is saying to him here. He goes, continue in what you have learned, what you firmly believe, knowing from whom you learned it. And again, it's a reference to Paul. Paul saying, look, I lived out this thing, even though I suffered for it. Paul's like, I'm all about the word. I'm all about this truth. And this is no joke. This is no, Paul is actually putting it into practice. He says, how from childhood you've been acquainted with the sacred writings, which were able to make you wise for salvation through faith in Christ. And so we should read the scripture, again, not to prep ourselves for the argument, for me to say, Lord, show me the truth about myself. And the scripture is real clear. I have sinned. I have fallen short. I need Jesus. I need his forgiveness. And it really clearly shows me how much he loves me and how he went to that cross and gave his life for me. In other words, it's as I eat the book, right, as I take it in, I want it to be digested. I want it to become a part of who I am and change me and transform me. It's what it's meant to do. Not just to feel good or to sound good. I mean, those are all good things, trust me. But it's able to change your life. Because it's all about Jesus. It's all about what he has done. And he says it's actually breathed out by God. They're actually his words. And it's profitable for what? For teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. And this is not so that it'll train you to fix the people around you. Some might need that, right? I need that sometimes. But primarily it's like looking at you first. Right? Where do you need to be called on the carpet? Where's God saying, hey, look, enough of that? How will you know what's right? Why? So that the man of God, so that the children of God, all of us, that we might be complete, equipped for every good work. I love that passage. Those are our marching orders. That's how we use this word. So every Bible study should feel like boot camp. I'm sorry. It really should be. All the small groups, the being ones, and every one that we have on Sunday, the kids ones, should all be, hey, what do you need to serve God? What do you need to have it all? Because listen, we're living in a world that says you need this. And we fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. Unless we look at this, Paul's saying, look, you got it all. This word will make you complete and make you equipped to do the things that God is calling you to do. What did Jesus say, right? He said, look at some of the things you'll see in Scripture. I'm not going to throw chapter and verse. I want you to look these up when you get home. That's my thing. So I'll have a little quiz next week. So next week I'll give you the verse and you have to give me the passage, So we'll try that if I remember. So somebody, Brittany, you remind me. Right? He says, important life-changing things like seek first the kingdom of God. If you're a worrier, seek that kingdom. Ask him to reign in your life, and all the other things you need, like clothing and food and stuff, he's got it covered. Forgive as you've been forgiven. Go to him and find your rest in him, right? These are all things Jesus actually said to us. Build your life upon the rock. You used that verse yesterday in the wedding we had here for Ellie and Dan. To build their house, build their life on the rock, that is Jesus Christ, the very foundation, right? Even what marriage is all about and what friendship is all, it's all in there, right? The two becoming one flesh in marriage. That's what this is about. So I want us to read it like we're hungry. Like when you need something to eat and you're hungry, and your body knows exactly what you need. Now sometimes you grab that candy bar and it's probably not what you need. But God's saying, I'm going to give you the real stuff. So let's develop some good eating habits as far as what's going into our souls, what's going into our hearts, the Word of God, his truth, his love, all that he has done for us and continues to do. Let's make that a habit. And so that every day, my prayer is that we wake up every morning and go, Lord, to whom shall we go? Who else has what you had? You have the words of eternal life. And let me get into that. Seeking what he is saying to me. Saying, Lord, I don't know where I'm supposed to go today. But he does. And he's already ready to lead us to where that is. And again, the answers are going to be in here. So get after those small groups. Get after that, those times with him every day. This is, I think, one of the cool things about something like the Being Challenge is, for some of us, it's hard to get into that rhythm. And it provides you an opportunity and a structure to do that. Every day there's something you don't have to guess. It's all right there.